Week 1, bro.
Well, look, as Penix, we'll see if he's back healthy, enough to start. But I think ideally, if you're a Falcons fan, you want Penix to win this job because he's younger and he has injury concerns himself, obviously, dating all the way back to college. But he doesn't have the concussion, the next really hard hit or fall where he hits his head could end his career, end his season, end his career. So you'd want Penix. But I think Tua's a better quarterback. Like, I think Michael Penix will probably never lead the league in passing yards, which Tua's done. He'll probably never lead the league in completion percentage, which Tua has done. Look at these numbers for their career. I get it, Penix is early in his career, but it's not even close. And Tua, not in the greatest situation. I know he's had a couple years in Miami where he had all that talent around him, but even before Mike McDaniel got there and Tyreek Hill got there, Tua would win games. And I've teased him about beating tomato cans, not winning in cold weather. That's true. But he still just about always has had a winning record for the season, but for these last couple years. But look at the numbers. They're not even close. And Tua is just the problem of the concussions and all of that. But I think he's definitely the better quarterback. I'll throw this out there. He hasn't been the same guy since there was all that talk about maybe him retiring. But that doesn't mean he can't get back to being that guy. They got a ton of weapons in Atlanta. So I do think he's better than Michael Penix, even though if I'm a fan of the Falcons, I would want Penix to just beat him out and maybe prove he's better.
Makes sense.
So I think aside from what Falcons fans want, I think I disagree with everything you said.
You don't think Tua's better than Michael Penix?
I think that you know who I also think will never lead the league in passing or completion percentage again? Tua. I think if the question were, will Michael Penix ever have a single season as good as Tua's best season? I would say no, I don't think he will. But I don't think Tua is ever going to come close to that again either. I don't know if that season was a fluke, if it was who he was going to be, and he got unlucky.
The season after that is when he led them in the league in completion percentage.
But that was the season, right, where he missed a lot of the time because of the injuries, or is that the season after that? He has not been. I had concerns about Tua's viability even when he was doing those things, but post the multiple traumatic concussions and how he changed his style of play, he's not a viable NFL starting quarterback, flatly, in my opinion. And so
you don't think he can get back to?
No, I don't. And I think that he will never be in a situation as beneficial for a quarterback's numbers as that first year in Miami.
I mean, this one.
Yeah. The uncomfortable truth about Tua is that there is a fragility that when you're playing as a quarterback, it's not even like, oh, you got to get down, you got to slide or something, right? Get out of bounds. Like, it's more than that, right? It's just also just being able to like stand in the pocket and take a hit. It's some of the more nuances of being a quarterback that's a little bit more than just. Look at Aaron Rodgers. Look how Aaron Rodgers plays right now. It's not a matter of when he scrambles, he's got to get down or get out of bounds. Like, you can see the way in which he gets rid of the ball, the way how he navigates the pocket. When people thought that he didn't want to take the sack against Myles Garrett, right? Like, you're like, it's still football. He's still playing quarterback, but it's clearly different. It's clearly not quite what he would have done back in 2010. And that is the aspect of Tua. Tua is essentially playing like he's already a 40-year-old quarterback. That therein lies a pretty big problem with Tua. Now, to be fair, you can obviously have some success with these 40-year-old quarterbacks. And I'm just using 40 as like a random number. Like just older quarterbacks, Kirk Cousins, Phillip Rivers. But you can still tell that things are a little different. You're still watching it. Even when Kirk Cousins was at his best, even last season, he had some really nice moments. And even Phillip Rivers, and Aaron Rodgers for that matter, right? you still know it's just different. You still see it. You can't put your finger on it necessarily because you're like, well, he threw for 280 yards and has 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. But like, you're like, I can't place it right now. You see those guys play. You see Aaron. You see Kirk Cousins. Like you're just like, yeah, like they're not playing bad, but you're like, I can't place it. And like that's almost what it is like watching Tua, where you're just like he's not terrible. There's obviously a fragility to him, but you're like, I can't quite place it. That to me is the foundational, fundamental issue with the Tua right now. And listen, I think it's smart from the GM to be like, yeah, man, they're there to compete for QB1. I mean, that makes sense. You're not just like, yeah, Tua's our backup, so therefore Tua check out. Oh, and Penix, you're the quarterback of our future, therefore, like, you're good, buddy. Just chill. Like, no. Like, this makes total sense. This makes total sense. And I'm a big supporter of the Atlanta Falcons going out and getting a Tua. And I am curious if Tua can settle into essentially old man football, old man quarterback, and still have a lot of success. Still have a lot of success and potentially still be more successful than a Michael Penix. But you obviously want Penix to be the future, your future quarterback, because I do think he's shown some really interesting flashes and an ability to deliver the ball and play big in big time moments that I personally found impressive and that I tried to elevate as much as I could. But also, like, Bruce having some revisionist history now. This was before Mike McDaniel, 16 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He was a 22nd ranked quarterback. He was ranked below Teddy Bridgewater, aging Russell Wilson, below Mac Jones with the New England Patriots, mind you, below Ryan Tannehill, Kirk Cousins. So, like, shout out Kyler Murray. He's about the ball. He's about the ball with the Minnesota Vikings. But so, like, yeah, we gotta like chill out on that a little bit. I mean, Tua in 2021, or is this 2020? Yeah, 2020, the 33rd ranked quarterback. He only played 10 games. It's fair. 64% completion percentage, 1,800 yards, 11 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Not the worst. Passer rating, 87.1. But, let's not pretend like Tua just kind of entered the league and was like, all right, looking pretty good. Like, they brought in Mike McDaniel, and before that, they were like, they got to move on from Tua. And then Mike McDaniel came in, changed that immediately, and people were like, see, look how legit Tua is. And obviously a stacked offensive roster, an offensive coach who was absolutely in his bag. And I think if Tua's healthy, and if he doesn't have to compromise his game, then I do think he can have a lot of success with Stefanski and this Atlanta Falcons team, but there is that fragility, man. And because of that fragility, there is just a different style of play, and you can see it in his games. Even when he's not getting hit and not scrambling, like you could just, like I said, it's reminiscent of what it feels like to watch Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins. The difference is about watching those older players is that those older players are so elite from the neck up. Kirk Cousins, even Kirk Cousins, especially obviously Aaron, they just understand how to play quarterback at such an insanely high level. They know how to run the offense at such an insanely high level. They know how to read defenses and manipulate defenses at such an insanely high level that they can get by playing that way in a way in which Tua just simply cannot. And that comes with, essentially like decade plus worth of experience of being quarterback. So, who's the Falcons' best option at quarterback? It's obviously clearly Michael Penix. But in the beginning right now, especially with Penix coming back from an injury and whatnot, because of just the experience, Tua definitely has more experience than Penix. And so in the beginning, the better option might genuinely be Tua. And so the Falcons are in a tricky situation. They are definitely in a tricky situation. And so, it's a tough situation they're in. I've been making some Falcons videos, and it's hard to feel confident in one direction or the next, right? Being 100% positive or being 100% negative. Like, I think in the more I think about this situation for the Falcons, you have to almost just kind of concede that, yeah, it's a little bit messy right now. It's for sure a little bit messy. They obviously did not want to take a stab at the Kylers of the NFL or the Mac Joneses and the Malik Willises of the NFL. And to me, that signals we believe in Penix, but if Penix is not him, at least we have Tua. So there's still the chance that we can make Tua legit, but if not, we're just going to draft a quarterback, and there you go. No big deal. Lots of teams draft quarterbacks. And like I said to you before, when you bring in a Stefanski and that whole new front office and all that, it's just like, we don't care about any of the things that happened in the past. We don't care about the draft picks that happened in the past, the Kirk Cousins, the this, that. That has nothing to do with us. We're starting from today. We have Penix right now. He just happens to be the quarterback that's on this roster. And we're not looking at, well, we drafted him, first round, couple years. No, I don't care. I don't care when he was drafted. I don't care what the situation is. It's just he's on the go. Okay, we also need another quarterback. We can get Tua for nothing. Great, bring him in. We're going to just figure out how this season unfolds. And if it's not good, no problem. We're going to draft a quarterback. Should be a great quarterback draft this coming year. This following season. Great. And then we start. Now we're in year 2. Like, let's go. It's like it becomes a no harm, no foul. Or Penix is legit, even better. Or if Penix isn't legit and Tua is legit, it's like, great. Like, so you're still giving yourself, you're still putting yourself in a position to have some success. Or you're going to fail, which then is also successful because now you're going to be able to draft your quarterback of the future. With this front office, with this coach, with this iteration of who the Atlanta Falcons are looking to be. And it's like, okay, great. And I support that more than maybe just the trying to find another version of a Daniel Jones, a Mac Jones, a Sam Darnold, like, it's a little bit easier said than done. And again, I was on the record saying, like, Malik Willis is the guy that I think everyone should go after. And I would have loved that more than potentially what the Atlanta Falcons are doing right now. But I understand why they're not looking to necessarily do that in this moment. Especially, again, when you bring in this when you're trying to usher in a new era for the Atlanta Falcons. That's why you fired everyone and now you're hiring new people and whatnot. There's no reason to maybe just to like go out and do that. It's not what the Seahawks did. It's not what the Colts did. Any of these teams that were able to kind of hit the reset button a little bit. It's like they didn't go out and run and do that. They were like, let's just see what we got here. Let's get settled here. Let's build this team out. It's even what Shane Steichen and the Colts did, and with having AR and whatnot. They let that bake for a second, and they were like, okay, it's not. Then they went out and got Daniel Jones. Like, it wasn't like the first move. It wasn't at the top of the list of things to do. It wasn't the case. So it wasn't the case when the Seahawks brought in Mike McDonald and whatnot. So I think sometimes, again, it's hard to tell a fan base to be patient when they've been going essentially nowhere, let alone arguably going backwards in many seasons, to just be like, well, you just got to be patient. You got to be patient. And I get it, but I do ultimately understand it. I do. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Atlanta Falcons? Who do you think the best option is for them at quarterback? Michael Penix or Tua Tagovailoa? Let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.